Yeah, just throwing things so the velocity off a cliff argument. Okay, it's related to the silly Brozo crap.
So now the moron is calling his own experiment crap.
So it will prove free energy.
I'm pretty sure it won't.
This experiment decides the question once and for all.
That's the important thing. That he said this experiment proves things will settle matters once and for all. And now it's Steve Bruff's crap.
It's related to the silly Brozo crap.
That was his idea, as shown here yet again.
Press that. Up it goes in the pin like this. Yeah, okay.
I mean, all you really want to do is put any kind of object on it. So even if you shot him off the edge of a table, you're just going to take a two mass.
So he's calling his own experiment crap. Let me carry on with the original clip though.
Just throwing things so the velocity off a cliff argument. Okay, it's related to the silly Brozo crap. That when something falls on this parabola, and yes, you go twice the velocity, you'll go twice the distance.
Yes, if you go twice the velocity, but that's the problem. He presumed in his claim that it would go twice the velocity. That was the whole point of the experiment, to prove that halving the mass would make it go twice the velocity. And the problem is that doesn't happen. If it went twice the velocity, then yes, it would go twice the distance. The purpose of his experiment was to prove that halving the mass would make it go twice the velocity. The experiment proved him completely and utterly wrong. And now he's trying to twist it to make out that because I didn't launch it at twice the velocity, it only went 1.4 times the distance. Like it's my fault that nature didn't make it go twice the velocity. No, it's his fault, Tithead's fault, that it didn't go twice the velocity when he presumed it would. He assumed it would.
This one will leave with twice the velocity.
See, you heard it there. He said that one will leave with twice the velocity. And because it didn't, that's my fault, apparently. Like it's my fault that nature didn't make it go twice the velocity. He assumed it would. He just guessed it would, and he still lives in hope that it will. That's why I want everybody to keep hammering him, keep pressing him to do the experiment himself, because this is an important point. He said it would go twice the velocity off the edge and therefore go twice the distance, and it didn't go twice the velocity off the edge, and it never will, because that isn't how nature works. It will only go twice the velocity if you quarter the mass, because of the square thing in the kinetic energy formula. One aspect that Gary is in denial of is that it would take more energy from this elastic band to make the half mass go twice as fast. We either quarter the mass to make it go twice as fast, twice the distance, or we put more energy in to make that half mass go twice as fast. I'm trying to think how else I can put it that would get the message through to him. Well, I think he knows, really. He always pretends. He acts ignorant. He pretends he doesn't get the argument. That's why he has to strawman it so much. We've got him in a corner here. We shouldn't let him off the hook. The guy is a lying moron, a deceitful, dishonest, fundamentally dishonest person. He's been dishonest so many times over the years. Some people say he's evil. I suppose it depends on your definition of evil. I can get why they say it though. So you've got to put more energy in to make the half mass go twice the speed. That's in line with the kinetic energy formula. That was the point of all the other experiments where, say, I was launching those objects. Where have they gone? These objects, trying to show that the half mass version of this, when launched separately with using a lever, only went 1.4 times faster, unless we loaded the launch spring with more energy to make it go twice as fast. It isn't going to go twice as fast unless you make it go twice as fast. You have to put more potential energy in. You have to load that elastic band tighter. More potential energy. The idiot doesn't even believe in potential energy. The idiot doesn't even believe in acceleration, for God's sake. This 9.8 meters per second squared. How can someone not get that? I'm no good at maths, for God's sake, but for fuck's sake, even I get that. 9.8 meters per second. Per second! That's the acceleration. It's not the same as velocity. But that's getting off the subject though. He's hilarious, isn't he? He is such a constant source of amusement, isn't he? It's better than comedy, really. It is comedy. It's platinum grade comedy. So he's trying to blame me for Mother Nature not working the way he wants it to. And he's not man enough to face up to being wrong. That's what it amounts to, isn't it? He's just not man enough to face up to being wrong. The man who claims he has more integrity than anybody else in the world. He has absolutely rock bottom integrity. Probably zero. Shall we carry on?
It's related to the silly Brozo crap. That, when something falls on this parabola, and yes, you go twice the velocity, you'll go twice the distance. Twice the velocity equals twice the distance. So there's no consumption of the energy in this analogy.
Yes, Gary, that's why it's a good experiment, because we're not losing energy, apart from the little bit of friction with the air, whatever, air resistance. So it's a good experiment. So it proves that when we halve the mass, it doesn't go twice the velocity. That's why it only went 1.4 times the distance, because it only went 1.4 times the velocity. That was the whole point of it, Gary. It was your idea. You said this will settle matters once and for all, and you're the one who doesn't want to face the music. In all seriousness, to anybody who has even the slightest idea in their head that Gary could be right, let me just try to appeal to your common sense. Supposing I'd launched a half mass, and I showed the weights, it's 62 mass on screen right now, and then in a different clip, if you bother to watch the video, I do a half mass proven to be 31 grams, and you can do it yourself. It's not a difficult experiment to do. I don't know why people aren't doing the experiment, but if you do that, if Gary was right, and if that half mass did launch at twice the velocity, it would have gone twice the distance. What do you think would have happened? Do you think I would have buried my head in shame and not shown it, knowing full well that anybody else could do the experiment as well? No, I would have been honest enough. Happy for Gary, actually, in a strange sort of way. Even though I hate the line get, from the feet upwards, I would still have stood by reality and said, well, actually, Gary's right. Halving the mass did make it go twice the distance. Therefore, it's going at twice the velocity. But that did not happen. Yes, it gets tiresome, doesn't it, having to repeat the same point over and over again. But I'm trying to appeal to whatever goodness there really is in his fans' hearts and minds to just look, you have a go at doing experiments. It's not difficult. He said it wasn't difficult. He's the one who said he just couldn't be bothered doing it because he can't be bothered doing anything properly. It's not that difficult. Just find two masses of 2-to-1 ratio. How hard can that be? An elastic band held back with a spring mechanism, a bit of wire wrapped around the middle, and a little pin glued to a little ledge. Then you make it so you suddenly release the band back, so it releases suddenly and it launches your object. Then you measure how far it goes. The only invention I added to this was using tin foil. That was the only novel step in this experiment. I used tin foil to measure the distance because it's easy to see the marks. Do it, do it, do it. It's so easy. And you will find, everyone will find, it never ever goes past 1.4 times the speed and distance. It just doesn't. I don't know if there's any point in me carry on talking, but I want to because... No, I'll shut up. I'm labouring the point. It does make you want to bang your head against the table, doesn't it?
Do the experiment with those two different objects. Place one in and see how far it goes.
1.4. We all knew it would go 1.4.
Goes. And the idea would be is that the light one will fall, twice as far.
Except that doesn't happen.
Twice as far away as the heavy one. This one will leave with twice the velocity.
See, you heard it there. He said that one will leave with twice the velocity. Did you hear him, folks? He said that one will leave with twice the velocity. And because it didn't, that's my fault, apparently. He's in just as much denial as this pet shop owner. He just refuses to accept that it doesn't happen.
Which means, that I can compress springs with heavy objects and shoot springs with light objects, and I can double my energy.
What a fucking idiot. How fucking stupid can a person get?
What kind of talk is that?
So there is free energy.
No, there isn't. There isn't. He's not saying that he thinks there's free energy. He's claiming that the kinetic energy formula inherently claims there must be free energy. Because he's wrong about this halving mass makes things go 2 times faster, Lark, then his fundamental claim is wrong. If you say so, Gary.
So it will prove free energy.
No, I'm pretty sure it won't.
This experiment decides the question once and for all.
That's the important thing. Again, that he said this experiment proves things will settle matters once and for all. And now it's Steve Bruff's crap. Well, he doesn't even have the honesty to call me by my real name. He has to call me Brozo, as if I give a shit about being called Brozo. It's silly though, isn't it? We shouldn't have to resort to calling each other silly names. I'm happy to go along with it because it doesn't matter much to me if somebody calls me Brozo. You can call me cunt. Well, I don't really care that much. What matters is the argument, whether he's right or not. And sadly, he never ever is. I find that fucking hilarious, to be honest.